Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Hello and welcome everyone to this third live session in this course Introduction to Western Political Thought. And I hope you have enjoyed the course so far. And I particularly like to thank those who are submitting the assignment regularly and also giving their feedback or weekly feedback on the course, content, pedagogy, and so on. So, thank you very much for your feedback, and it is certainly going to help the course when it may go for rerun. So, in this live session, what I'm going to do is many of you have asked question on the discussion forum, and also one Google document that was shared with you. So you can you have asked question on that Google Doc as well, and we in this live session would like to address those questions as well. So I'll first start with the questions which you have asked on the Google form, and then we'll take some questions from the discussion forum also, which is very significant, I feel. Uh, and during this live session also, if you have any question, please put it in the chat box, and I'll be happy to respond to them as well. So, a very good morning to all of you, and welcome in this live session. Now, in the Google Doc, which was circulated, many of you are asking about the question and exams. So let me start this live session by addressing that question first. So first, it is going to be a objective type exam, or the question or the nature of the question would be objectives. That means you will have four options, and out of that options you have to choose the correct one. Now, this MCQ would be of three types. One, here you will be assessed your capacity to recall what you learned while watching the video or listening to video or reading the transcript. So basically, a number of questions would be more in a kind of recall. So the first type of MCQ would be in the nature of recall, very easy, simple question which hopefully you should be able to answer correctly if you have listened to all the videos or watched all the videos, PPTs, and transcripts. The second type of question would be mostly from the assignment. So a number of questions which you have already done during the course of 12 weeks, some of the questions will be part of the final exam as well. And finally, about half of the question would be to assess your analytical ability or your comprehension of the themes or the thinkers we have covered in this course. So we are going to formulate or provide you the question which would be of MCQ types, and as I have said, it will be consist of three kinds of question. One would be easier, simpler one about recall. Second would be more from the assignment which you have already done, and the third part would be more analytical or your comprehension skill of the themes and the thinkers we have covered in this course. So that's on exam. Some of you are also having a problem about, say, classes of timing or you are having two exams on the same date at the same timing. And also due to this pandemic, many of you have genuine problem about uh, whether you will be able to go to the exam center or other kind of problem that you may face. Now, for these questions, you can write to me and I'll respond. But also, you can write directly to the support at nptl.iitm.ac.in. Hopefully, this technical team will respond or resolve some of your queries related to accessibility or classes of timing and so on. So, thank you, Sanjay, for being in this live session. So any kind of technical problem you are facing, um, uh, you can write to the support or technical support team. All right. Few of you also have the problem in submitting the assignment. So let me address that question also. Many of you may have the problem. So you have enrolled for the course, you have watched all the video, but for some reason you were not able to submit all the assignments. So but you are also keen to write the final exam, or you have registered for the exam, you have paid the fees and you are willing to write the final exam. Now suppose if some of you have missed a number of assignments, will that affect your final grading, or will you be eligible for the final certificate? Now, let me assure you that the criteria to give certificate is on the basis of two conditions. One is the assignment which you submit regularly or you are expected to submit regularly, and the second is final exam. Now, this is a 12-week course, and every week you have received one assignment. Now, the grading requires that out of 12 assignment, your best 8 assignment would be included in the grading. So, suppose if this course or exam is for 100 marks, the 30% or say 25 marks are kept for um, um, uh, uh, 25 marks are kept for your assignment, or the marks on the basis of your assignment, that is out of best 8, right? Out of best 8 constitute 25 percentage points, and the final exam is of 75 percentile point. Now suppose to be eligible for certificate, you must secure 10 out of 25 in the assignment and at least 40 out of 75 in the final exam. Now to get the certificate, both these conditions must be met. But suppose if some of you have submitted only 4 assignment or 5 assignment or 3 assignment, but you manage to secure at least 10 percentage point or 10 marks out of 25 from the assignment, then you are eligible for the certificate. So you have to I think if you have registered for the exam, go ahead with the final exam, even if you have not managed to submit all the assignments, because only 8 best assignment will be included in the final grading, and out of that 8 maximum mark is kept 25, and you must secure 10 out of 25. So if you think in just 3 assignment or 4 assignment that you have submitted or managed to submit, you can score 10%, then you are eligible for the certificate if you manage to secure at least 40% from the final exam. So that would be my suggestion to you. If you have any further question, please go ahead and ask. I hope that clarify your concern. Okay, so as I have said about the nature of questions in the final exam, Anisa Daima is asking, sir, can you please give an example for third type of MCQ or analytical type question? Um, all right, so say, Anisa, for example, I'm just giving you one, right? There would be one statement and there would be explanation of that statement on some thinker or the themes that we have covered in that thinker. There would be one statement, that is A, and B would be explanation to that statement. And you may be asked whether that statement and explanations are correct, or only a statement is correct or explanation is wrong, or both are right or both are wrong. So any one of these four would be correct. You can choose any one. Similarly, on some thinker, there would be four statement on a certain theme or certain argument. You may be asked to choose the correct argument or the correct statement about the argument of a particular thinker on particular theme. For example, Machiavelli on, say, Republican form of government or civic virtue. There you can, recall or use your um, um, understanding or comprehension of a thinker or their argument. So, answering that question or identifying the correct answer would require uh, more than just recall or factual information, but understanding of the theory or the arguments. Basically, the analytical question would be of that type, which require you to think about the argument and not a kind of factual question whether you can easily select on the basis of recall or your memory. Does it answer your question, Anisa? That's one type of analytical question or part of. This. Alright, Sanjay is asking about the PPT of all classes. I hope it will be uploaded very soon, Sanjay, maybe in a day or two. So you will get the PPT of all the classes, and I hope you are receiving the transcript as well, right? Samujwal is asking, sir, how are we supposed to write analytical question? Will we be given answer sheet? No, Samujwal, as I have said that even the analytical question would be of MCQ type. So it is not going to be subjective questions where you need to explain certain thing. There would be a statement, there would be explanation to that statement, or some other kind of question which require you to think about the arguments or the themes or the thinkers which we have covered, their books, and you have to choose one out of the four options that is provided to each question. Answering that question would require you to think analytically or critically rather than choosing the correct option on the basis of your memory or recall. No, Anissa, there will be no negative marking for the exam. Okay, Karisma is asking about question 7 in the assignment 11. You are very much right, Karisma, and many of you have raised this point on the discussion forum and also on the live session. So, yes, that was incorrect option, and while grading, or even we will correct the right option after this live session, and for providing so the B is the correct option, right? So if you have given that option, that would be considered, or maybe that question we can simply remove from considering while giving the final mark. So we regret that error, but it was not intentional, or it was error which was unintended. Alright, Sajal, I'll come to your question a bit later. Now let me take few questions on the Google Doc. So Anayat is asking about why only Greece became the cradle of political philosophy. Thanks for this question, Anayat. And the scope of this question is too broad for this course particularly, but we have to think about the history, politics, and society of any society or civilization to understand why it was possible that based philosophy or based treatises was written in a particular context. And if you look at the human civilization, there is a kind of circular move. So you have based philosophy written in Greece, but that should not uh, cover the similar progress made in other civilizations, such as in India, Buddhism or Hindu philosophy, in 7th to 11th century Arab Enlightenment, or the growth of philosophy in Arab. In fact, the modern European society rediscover Aristotle and Plato through Arabic translation. So there is a kind of the circular move, and even again in the modern period you have the European or continental philosophy coming up with great treatises in philosophy, mathematics, science, technology, and so on. Now, what and why those things are possible in a certain society at a given point of time? There is a number of factors involved. First is there has to be some kind of autonomy or self-sufficiency or economic prosperity. And if you think about Greece of ancient time, such as Athens, Sparta, where Plato, Aristotle, Socrates began for the first time to speculate about the world and not just satisfy with day-to-day living and how to make good. So there is a kind of inbuilt search for better life, better order, justice, dignity, and how to ensure it, for everyone in the society. And to think or speculate about that, besides the warfare. If you think about ancient or medieval time, warfare was the recurrent thing, and state or empire was constantly engaged in war, and the whole purpose of a state is to prepare for war, resource mobilization for that war. Once you achieve certain degree of economic prosperity, which Athens did, that allows some of its individual to also think about better state, better society, or how to demand justice. So, and these city states were very closed, small uh, uh, territories with kind of self-sufficiency or a kind of distinct model of governance. So Athens, Sparta, and Aristotle say collected about 156 or 8 constitution. That shows how different communities had a kind of very small population living in a kind of face-to-face community, and sought excellence in every sphere of life, including art, science, philosophy, polity, governance, and so on. So there are a number of factors which comes together that allow lofty philosophical speculation or contemplation possible. It happened in Greece, but simultaneously it was happening in other societies and civilizations, as I said, what Hindu. Even in Arab, 7th to 11th century was that period which allowed, all kind of philosophy or speculation or literature to emerge. In modern time also, when society permit the individual to use his her thinking without any coercion, without any suppression, then you have progress, excellence in every sphere of life, including in philosophy and science. So Athens permitted. in comparison to say other city-states even in Greek times. Arab promoted or provided that condition where it was possible for the individual to think beyond the existing norms or beliefs. Hindu civilization provided, and you have six, classical period where the great treatises were written both in literature or in philosophy, also the mathematical advancement, if you can think of. So, why a society become a cradle for lofty philosophical speculation or ideas to emerge is result of a combination of factors. Even if you think about the modern European continental philosophy, think about the churning in that society and search for freedom in every sphere of life, and that leads thinker like social contract theorist and also Mill Marx to provide new explanation about ideal life, society, state, government, and so on. The idea is to provide a condition where human being can live a dignified life, and political philosophers constantly seek to provide new answer, new explanation for that. However, not all society provide that necessary condition or freedom to have those kind of speculations. So that would be my answer. But there could be other historical, cultural explanation or economic explanation to that as well. Okay. Now, Sefali is asking about Bentham is also known as a reformer. So, how shall we relate his utilitarianism to reformist ideas? And the second part of the question I have answered, Sefali, about the question paper and the exam. So, utilitarian philosophy of Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill also, which provided a kind of qualitative addition to utilitarian philosophy. The very core of utilitarian philosophy is to ensure maximum good of maximum number. And if you look at the colonial policy making in India or in any other country, when a state tries to formulate policy for the benefit of the population, what is the consideration for the state or the government? This assess the worth of a policy by calculating or measuring how far that policy will benefit the maximum number of people. So, for public policy, according to Bentham, only criteria is to see whether that policy is in the benefit of the greatest number or not. So, in that sense, Bentham understanding of utilitarian philosophy, in contrast to say contemplative or speculative theory, is very rooted in the practical material life of the people, rather than having a kind of idealistic contemplation and speculation about what is good for the society. Like say in Plato you have theory of forms. In comparison to that, you have in England a philosophical movement which promoted the idea that only measurement of assessing the significance or worth of a policy is to see whether that benefit the greatest number of the whether that will promote the greatest benefit of the greatest number. So, in that sense, you can think about utilitarian philosophy or Bentham as a reformer or as a kind of reformist ideas. Anissa, yes, question is going to be in the online mode and what instruction related to exam. I hope many of you have got your admit card and received those instruction as well. All right, let me take few questions from this chat section. So Kaustav is asking, sir, are we supposed to read the biographies of philosophers or political thinkers? See, Kaustav, for this course particularly, and particularly for the purpose of exam, you don't need to read these biographies or the text by political thinkers. However, to have better understanding or broader understanding of the themes and the thinker, it is always advisable to read those biographies, to read those treatises. For instance, if you read Mill, John Stuart Mill, I believe the video, the PPT, and the transcript would be sufficient to respond or to appear for the exam. But to further develop your understanding and comprehension of Mill's argument or theory, it would be better to read the original on liberty. If you want, if you are interested in Mill, if you are interested in Marx, you should read German Ideology or Communist Manifesto and so on. So those texts would be beneficial if you read them in original. Similarly, if you read Aristotle, uh, Republic, Politics, it would be helpful. All right. So now that's on about philosophers and political thinkers. Okay. Now Sanjay is asking, kindly mention the weightage NPTEL SWAYAM course in assistant professor selection as per UGC norms. Sanjay, at the moment I cannot answer this question. That is particularly with the AICTE understanding. So you raised this question on the discussion forum. Maybe I'll discuss it with the technical team and find out what are the weightage for the uh, assistant professor. But I am sure that this course will help you in two ways. One, to broaden or sharpen your understanding of thinkers, and B, it would be your additional certificate, which hopefully give weightage to you in comparison to other candidates. Yes, Kaustav, question is going to be MCQ type. Uh, Chandralok is asking, sir, please shed some light on Marx's ideas of Asiatic mode of production and how can we study this idea with the help of post-colonial theories. Chandralok ji, thank you for this question. And in this course, I have not really discussed this um, um, idea of Asiatic mode of production. But in the Marx writings on India, there is um, a kind of understanding of unchanging development in certain countries. And in the period of Enlightenment, there was a kind of growing interest to think about the origin of, say, humankind. And in that search, they thought, the Asiatic mode of production, and if one understand that Asiatic mode of production, can help us understand the origin of humankind. So you may have heard about how it was seen that Europeans or Indians are brothers or lost brothers, which colonialism or those who supported or legitimized colonialism thought has provided them in scope to come together. So the welcome of Raja Ram Mohan Roy in England, or Max Muller idea of Indian philosophy was part of that newfound interest among the European Indologists or Romantics about India. Aesthetic mode of production, particularly, was seen as something which can explain the origin of human civilization or human society. Now, at the moment, I can answer only this much, but if you and how can we study his idea with the help of post-colonial theories, the connections between the post-colonial theory? This debate, particularly among the intellectuals, say post-colonial theory is inspired by Marxism, but not limited by it. They also include Hegelian idea and interpret Marxism in a manner which will not be in accordance with, say, dominant Marxist tradition, which want to interpret Marx as the first scientific thinker. So, in the post-colonial theory, if you want to know how Marx writing influence or shape the contours of post-colonial theory, you can read the argument about Dipesh Chakrabarty and there is one person, inspector of capital. So I just give me a second. Anyway, I just forget the name, but there is Marxist critique to post-colonial theory as promoted by Dipesh Chakrabarty. I think he's in the New York. He's based in New York. What is his name? Just give me a second. Anyway, I cannot find it now. I'll get back to you, Chandralok. Maybe you can write to me, and I'll that name I cannot recall now. But the argument, in the post-colonial theory, there is a kind of move beyond, understanding of Marx as a scientific thinker, with particularly the idea of economic determinism. So they look at aesthetic mode of production plays a crucial role in going beyond that economic determinism or deterministic understanding of Marxist writing through the idea of, say, historical materialism and so on. Okay, does that this is my immediate response to this question. I think which requires some serious reading or understanding, which we can continue to discuss on the discussion forum, and also you can write to me. We'll let Yuki Chandralok, if you are still here. Okay, now let me move to the next question about the exam or the pattern of exam or the questions which I have already answered. Sajal, I cleared net. What should we do to clear JRF? And political theory particularly. So I think some of the text you can read. Sajal, basically one other course which I offer on the NPTEL is Introduction to Political Theory, which is going to be rerun in the next semester, so you can enroll for that course. And also you can read some of the basic text from say UP on political theory and OP Gauba if you like to increase your chance of clearing the JRF. The fundamental to any competitive exam is to prepare the basic topics um, thoroughly. So I hope that would allow you to understand or score more in the NET exam to qualify for JRF. Besides, you can also use some guidebooks to increase your chance. Now, Agriti is asking, yeah, it is going to be completely MCQ, Agriti. I have responded to the question on assignment 11, question number 7. Yes, correction is needed and we are going to do that. So module we are not going to have subjective type questions, so there is no question of how you are going to write it. This is asking again about the question pattern for the exam and how much marks it consists of. So as I have said that for this course there is two part. First is your regular assignment over the course of 12 weeks, and for assignment 25 percentage point are kept, and for the final exam it is 75. To get the certificate you need to have 10 out of 25 from the assignment and 40 out of 75 in the final exam, and if you manage to secure the both you are eligible for the certificate. Now the number of questions in this exam or the final exam will be about 50, and it will be consist of three types of question as I have said. First type of question would be mostly a simple of simple kind based on your recall or ability to recall, and I hope you can answer those questions based on your memory, or if you have watched the video or read the transcript or PPT, that should be sufficient to respond to the question based on recall, the first type of question. The second set of questions would be from your assignment itself. So if you have done the regular assignment, then you should be able to answer the question based on assignment. The final or about half of the question would be of analytical kind, which will assess your comprehension or understanding of a thinker and their theme. So the nature of question will be MCQ type, but that would be uh, in a nature where you need to think or you need to analyze before you are able to select the correct answer. Okay, now I have not submitted any assignment. What should I do? It appear in the exam. So, Mohammed, as I have said that if you want to have a certificate, you need to meet two conditions. One is you need to have so you need to have 10 percentage points and out of 25. And even if you have submitted 2, 3, 4 assignments and you think you can manage to have um, uh, 6, 10 out of uh, 10 out of 25, and then you can sit for the exam, and you should sit for the exam in any case if you have registered for this course. So that's my advice to you. But to get the certificate, you need to have at least 10 percentage out of 25 from the assignment. Alright, now let me move on to the discussion forum first. One question is by Rosemary, and that is on John Stuart Mill's idea of representative government and decentralization of power, and why he do not extend this right to representation or decentralization of power to non-European society. And this is really ironical or contradiction, that Mill, a champion of liberty or freedom, do not want the same right to be extended to non-European people. Now, this is strange, or while discussing Mill's theory, we have critically assessed that part of Mill as well, or Mill's theory. Now, the possible explanation why he think or why he thought that non-European societies are not capable of representing themselves, because he himself was working in East India Company, or has had stake in the colonial rule, and for many Europeans, colonialism was a kind of white man burden. That means they are not explaining or interpreting it as a kind of exploitation of one people by the other, or domination of one people by the other, as we colonized people see or saw colonialism and fought against it. For many colonizers, these saw colonialism or imperialism as a kind of white man burden, or a kind of civilization mission, where Europeans and they thought in the binary, European and the non-European, where they saw European or defined European as someone who is rational, scientific, and therefore capable or competent of self-governing or having self-representation rights, whereas they saw the natives as primitive, not mature enough for the representative government. So many colonialists in India uh, argued that they are here to govern this country for the best interest of Indian people. And so long Indians are incapable of representing themselves, colonial rule or some kind of um, 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 despotic rule or benevolent despotic rule by the colonials are in the advantage of the Indian people. So there is a critique to that, and many of us have this colonial hangover whenever we compare our society to European, where we see in the historical time frame there is a linear time frame, right? From one stage to the next stage in the human history, we often see India or Asian society, lagging behind from say European society, or the advanced society. So that kind of thinking is actually questioned by say Dipesh Chakrabarti, which I have just discussed. That through this kind of argument about advanced or less advanced, or some societies immature for self-representation right, or right to express themselves freely without coercion, without regulation. This argument keeps certain societies, what the Chakravarti calls, in the waiting room of history. So they are always lagging behind the European society, and we are left to merely imitate or refashion ourselves like the Europeans. So we are not really ever replicate in exact manner European ways of life, European thinking, and we are also cut off from our own roots, our own originality. So there is a kind of dilemma, challenges in the post-colonial uh, mind and post-colonial theory, and try to address those colonial encounters on the psyche or thinking or imagination of the colonized people and also colonizers. But to answer your question that why Mill deny representative government or decentralization of power to the non-European society, because according to him, these societies were immature, incapable of self-representation, and therefore it is in their benefit if they are ruled or governed by the Europeans or colonizers. I hope that answers your question, Rosemary. Then a very good question is asked by Tezel Nirola about Machiavelli as the first modernist thinker. Now, in this course, I have not said that Machiavelli was the first modernist thinker, but however, there are elements in his writings which present him as a modernist thinker. But for uh, you know uh, um, our purpose, or in this course, we considered Hobbes as the first modernist thinker, precisely because he provided an unambiguous language of politics. In fact, if you read, say, Ellen on politics, he classify or present Hobbes' description about himself, because Thomas Hobbes considered himself as the first political scientist in comparison to, say, philosophers. So Machiavelli, Plato, Aristotle contemplated and speculated about politics. But Hobbes thought his Leviathan, or what he is known for as the first social contract theorist, is the first scientific explanation of, say, state sovereignty or theory of political obligation. And why we need a state, what is the legitimacy of the state, and why should we obey the state? Explanation to these questions was provided by Hobbes in most unambiguous, almost mathematical language, and therefore we consider Hobbes as the first modern political thinker and not Machiavelli. However, in Machiavelli, what you have is the element of modern thought. First, when he talked about autonomy of political sphere from everyday morality, there is two kind of morality. He is not immoral. Often, when we caricature him as a kind of corrupt or deceptive thinker, and everything that is wrong in our politics with we associate it with Machiavelli. But if you recall our discussions on Machiavelli, particularly discourses on Livy, as opposed to the Prince, the general or commonsensical or uh, widely known Machiavelli is on the basis of his writing in the Prince. And in Prince, he justified principality or monarchy or king, and how a king should secure his territory or expand his territory by mixing the ability of fox and lion and so on. So he is still in that realm of monarchy and not the state, as Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, and other modern thinkers thought about or imagined or theorized. But in Prince and also in Discourses on Livy, one, we have Machiavelli arguing about the independent and autonomous sphere of politics, and second, the use of republic or the people as the sovereign entity, where the monarch or the prince should always you know ensure that people are not exploited by the rulers, or their properties are not taken, or the tax are not too heavy, and the prince for the stability of rule. It is better when the have a kind of friendship, not with the nobles who in any way are going to be the rival of the king. They will be looking for the opportunity. They may conspire to replace the king, but the people may be the real, or and the king can secure genuine friendship with the people in the long run, that will help him stabilize the rule. And also the very idea of republicanism, particularly in the Discourses on Livy, where he talks about the rule of a strong leader to institutionalize republicanism. So the ultimate objective is to be ruled by the people themselves through what he calls civic virtue or virtue. But to have that, there would be always the possibility of corruption and so on. So therefore, in Machiavelli, what you have is a kind of element of modernist thought about the autonomous sphere of politics from the clutches of religion, and also about people or republican ideas. But he remains somewhat caught in between the medieval thinking and modernist thinking. So, he was a thinker who saw something which is, declining, the monarchical system, and the modern state was replacing it. But monarchy has not totally declined, or state has not totally, or modern state has not been, established. So, in that sense, in Machiavelli's writing, you have the elements of modern ideas, but he is not considered as the first modernist thinker, which is Thomas Hobbes. And as I said, why? Because Hobbes provided the first mathematical or scientific language of a state. Why should we obey the state? Not because the state represents the divine right, but we ourselves, through covenant, establish the state and give it certain power. So individual is a party of the contract through which sovereign is created, Leviathan is created. And once, because we have created the Leviathan, we have the obligation to obey it, because if we do not obey, that would lead to anarchy or state of nature, and the life in the state of nature is nasty, brutish, and short. There is war of everyone against everyone. There will be no trade, no progress, and so on. Therefore, in Hobbes, you have altogether a very different argument or theorization of state, sovereignty, political obligation, and so on. And therefore, he is the first modernist thinker and not Machiavelli. I hope, Tejal, that answer your question. Now let me see if you have any question on the chat section. Now we have Chandralok. Sir, in light of Socrates' argument regarding political obligation in Crito, how can we justify any protests, either anti-CAA or current farmer protest? So I cannot see the clear connection between the argument that is there in Crito and what you are saying now. Because, but what I can say on this is, Plato was the author of this text, where he explained the way Socrates was poisoned, and he considered democratic rule or rulers of Athens responsible for that crime. Now, the idea of protest, whether it is anti-CAA or a farmer protest, which is going on in India, is part of a democratic politics where the citizens or the groups have the right to protest or dissent against the government, right? So it's a part of democratic process where every citizens or group of citizens have right to protest against their government. So you can see this right as part of democratic culture, democratic ethos, and democratic politics. However, in Plato, if you recall his Republic and arguments on, say, justice or philosopher king, it was anti-democratic, and he do not want everyone to meddle with the affairs of the government because everyone is not capable of ruling. So there is the kind of three classes where all these classes should act according to their nature without interfering into each other's business. And when that harmony is there, then only justice is possible in the state. So for Plato, uh, uh, I doubt if he would allow the citizens or the ordinary classes right to protest or dissent the government opinion, because theory of forms or what is good can be uh, inferred by those who are capable or have a special training in mathematics or dialectics. So that would be my response to you, Chandraloke, and I hope that answer your question. All right, so that is all I wanted to share with you, and that was the time which was available for us. If you have any question or any thought or any suggestion, please use the discussion forum. And as I have said, we are going to upload the PPT very soon. So you should use the PPT and the transcript. I think most of the transcripts are available now, but those which are not may be made available very soon, certainly before the final exam. And PPT along with video would be sufficient for you to write the exam. But let me repeat here what I said in the introductory course, that this is introduction to Western political thought, and even not a kind of representative, because many thinkers we have not included. So you treat this course as a introduction to Western philosophy, and there are different thinkers, different ideological, social, political background, and you can, according to your interest, pursue further on their writings, on their ideas by reading the text in the original. So I'll encourage you to read the original text by any of the thinkers which we have included or those which we have not, but you are interested in their thought and ideas, and see how it is continued to be relevant in our own contemporary times. Second is, I'm really glad for those of you who are regularly participating or providing your feedback or submitting your assignment, and we're very thankful for that. And some of the errors that was about the options or the correct options of any assignment, we really regret that, and hopefully we'll correct them or be more careful in the future. So thanks for all your questions today during this live session and also on the discussion forum, and use the discussion forum for your any queries, and I am sure that this course have generated some interest in some of you at least to pursue the writings or the text of these great thinkers in some detail, and please do so. Now let me conclude this live session by thanking you once again and wishing you all the best for the final exam. Thank you. Thank you everyone.